Okay, the next oligopoly model, which is a famous one, is Bertrand duopoly. In the Bertrand duopoly, it's the kind of the opposite to Carnot model. In Bertrand duopoly, firms are actually competing on prices, right? Under Carnot model, they are competing to set the quantity they want to produce, but in Bertrand, they are competing to set the price, right? And then quantity is going to get adjusted later to the price. So the outcome of Bertrand duopoly is very interesting. What's happening is that the equilibrium price, is going to be the same as the equilibrium price under perfect competition, right? The reason is that assume two firms are competing on prices, right? Each firm has incentive to lower the price and get the entire market compared to the rival. And since they both have the same incentive to undercut the price will be lowered until it reaches to the producer marginal cost. And since we already assumed they have the same cost structure, meaning they have the same marginal cost, the price at the equilibrium is going to be at the marginal cost of the firms, right? Let's see an example to understand why the outcome is going to be competitive price or perfect competition price equilibrium. Let's assume we have two firms. Each firm has the entire size of the market is 60 units. The firms are identical in cost function and everything. Let's assume for the beginning, the price is set at $40, marginal cost is 20, and each firm is producing 30 units, right? So since price is greater than the marginal cost, that means each firm is experiencing a positive economic profit. But firm one has incentive to undercut the price for just a little bit, maybe $39, and get the entire market. And if firm one does so, then firm one is going to get 60 units. It's going to produce 60 units, and firm two is going to produce nothing, right? But that's not the end of the story, because firm two has the same incentive. So, for example, firm two drops the price just a little bit below 39, right? And this war actually continues until they both reach out to the price equal to the marginal cost. So when the price meets the marginal cost, it's going to stay at $20, right? And when it reaches to $20, the economic profit of both firms is going to be zero, right? So that's how the equilibrium price under Bertrand duopoly is going to be the same as the equilibrium price under perfect competition. So this graph is actually comparing the outcome, the equilibrium price of Carnot model compared to Bertrand model with respect to the number of firms, right? As long as we have only one firm, both Carnot and Bertrand, because these are oligopoly models, right? When we have only one firm in the market, then that would be the same as monopoly. So under one firm, under Carnot and Bertrand, the outcome, the price is going to be the same as monopoly price, right? Under Carnot model, as the number of firms is increasing, the outcome is converging to the competitive price, right? And if the number of firms goes to, for example, unlimited number of firms, I mean infinity, then it's going to be equal to competitive price, right? So the price drops gradually as the number of firms in the market increases. But under Bertrand, as the second firm enters the market, we immediately reach out to the competitive price, and we are going to stay at the competitive price no matter how many firms are in the market, right? So this is how the Carnot model price and Bertrand price are going to be different. And since under competitive price, the price is equal to the marginal cost, then that means under Carnot model, each firm is going to experience positive economic profit. But under Bertrand model, each firm is going to experience zero economic profit as long as we have only two firms, at least two firms in the market. Now, that might be just, assuming both firms under Bertrand model are producing the exact same product and everything, cost function and everything, and the product are the exact same thing for both of them, that might be too unrealistic, right? If you're gonna close the Bertrand model, make it closer to the real world examples, we need to relax some assumption. The first assumption we can relax is that what if each firm has some capacity constraint? That means by undercutting the price, they are not practically able to get the entire market, to produce, to cover the entire market, right? If each firm is not able to produce and sell for the entire market, get the entire market share, then they are not able to keep undercutting the price until a marginal cost, right? What if the second assumption we can relax is, what if they are not producing the exact same product? The products are not identical. But if we have some sort of differentiation across the products, right? In both cases, we are actually not going to be the price at the equilibrium. It's not going to be exactly the same as competitive price. And that means there would be some positive economic profit left for each firm, right? For example, under capacity constraint, like I said, each firm is not able to produce for the entire market. And that means they cannot keep undercutting the price to get the entire market. They have to step somewhere above the marginal cost, right? And since they stop at some price above the marginal cost, that means there would be some positive economic profit left for each firm, right? And the price is not going to be the same as the equilibrium price. Second assumption we relax is, what if we have some sort of differentiation across the product? What if the products are not exactly homogeneous? Under this relaxed assumption, that means there would be some, both products are not perfectly substitute. And if one firm is dropping the price, it's not like the entire market share of that firm, of the second firm, would go for the first one, right? There are still some customers who prefer to buy from the higher price firm because the product is different from the other one, right? The point is that the outcome of differentiated product in Bertrand model, the outcome is going to be very similar to Carnot model, right? But the difference is that under Carnot model, we discussed that as one firm increases the quantity produced, the other firm has to drop the quantity produced, right? Because the market size is fixed, and when one firm increases its market share, the other firm, there would be less demand left for the other firm, right? So that means these two would move in the opposite direction. One firm increases the quantity produced, the other firm has to decrease the quantity produced, right? And that's why the best response function we discussed, they are downward sloping, right? This is actually called strategic complements, right? The size of the market is fixed, and when one firm increases the market share, the other firm has to decrease the market share. So they are strategically complement. But under Bertrand model, they are the opposite. They are called strategically substitute. It means when one firm drops the price, the other firm also drops the price, right? So they move in the same direction in their decision-making process. And for this reason, their best response function is increasing, the opposite, which is the opposite to Carnot model, right? So these two graphs are actually comparing the outcome under and the best response functions under Carnot model and Bertrand model when the products are differentiated. The one at the left is Carnot equilibrium. When one, for example, let's assume this is the best response function of firm 1 and this is the best response function of firm 2, right? If we assume this is equilibrium, when one firm, let's say firm 2, increases the quantity produced, for example, increases the capacity, production capacity, the best response function of firm 2 shifts upward, right? And when this happens, this is going to be the new equilibrium, and under the new equilibrium, firm 2 is going to produce more, but firm 1 has to drop the production, the products producing, right? So when firm 1, as a result of probably technology improvement or capacity improvement, increases the production, right? The best response function of firm 2 goes up, and then firm 2 gets the greater market share. But in the equilibrium, that means firm 1, there would be less demand left for firm 1, and at the equilibrium, firm 1 drops the quantity produced, right? So these two, firm 1 decision compared to firm 2 decision, they are moving in the opposite direction. But under Bertrand model, for example, this is firm 1 best response function, and this is firm 1. This is firm 1 best response function, and this is firm 2 best response function. When firm 2 decides to undercut the price, the best response function shifts downward, right? And then compare the equilibrium. This was the old equilibrium, and this is a new equilibrium after firm 2 undercuts the price, right? As you can see, under old equilibrium compared to the new equilibrium, actually under new equilibrium, the price drops for both firms, right? So you can see that the price would drop for both, and they are moving in the same direction. So this is how Carnot model would be different from Bertrand differentiated product model. The last theory for oligopoly is Stackelberg model. Under Stackelberg model, they are both deciding on the quantity they want to produce. So in that sense, it's similar to Carnot model, but it's different from Carnot model when they are moving in sequential, right? One firm decides about the quantity first, and then second firm, after observing the first firm decision, second firm would move and decide about the quantity produced, right? So that means a second firm observes the decision of the first firm, and the first firm takes into account the second firm highly likely response into account, right? The point is that when one firm moves first and decides about the quantity and enters the market, the first firm has actually first mover advantage to take the entire market share, or maybe a great deal of market share, right? This is called first mover advantage, or FMA. And this arises from so many factors. For example, the first factor could cause first mover advantage and greater market share for the first mover is learning curve. So the firm that enters the market earlier would learn and get more experience, and then it's more experience compared to the second firm in competition, and they are able to get the greater market share, right? The second reason could cause first mover advantage for the first firm is scarce resources. Assuming the resources are scarce, and the first mover or the first firm that enters the market is able to secure the scarce resources for itself, right? And then the third reason could be loyalty. Maybe it's hard for the customers that are already working with one firm to do the research and move to the second firm, switch to the second firm. They don't know about the quality. They don't know about anything. So there are more uncertainty about the second firm. They prefer to stay more loyal. They are happy with the first firm. They prefer to keep working with the first firm, right? And the last reason could be reaching the critical mass, especially for businesses and industries in which network externality matters. For example, let's say Facebook, right? When network externality matters. Or let's say Amazon, when network externality matters. In such industries, the first mover can reach to the critical mass and take advantage of the critical mass and get the greater market share. But when they want to take advantage of this market share, they actually need to move and just engage some investment and spend some sinking costs. They actually need to produce, right? But there are some cases in which first mover is not going to be successful necessarily, right? For example, sometimes practically the first mover is not able to produce and get the entire market. So there are some capacity barriers, capacity constraint, and they cannot get the entire market. That means there would be some rooms left for the second firm, right? Or sometimes the product could be differentiated. So the second mover can enter the market with a slightly different product and get some market share. Or sometimes there are limits to imitation barriers. Sometimes it's hard to prevent the other firms to get your technology or your knowledge, right? So technology can be available to everyone, or the knowledge could be spillover across the industry, right? And then there would be rooms for the second firm to enter. And sometimes switching costs are minimal. Maybe it's not that hard for customers to try another firm, right? So maybe it's not that costly for them to try another firm. At least they can give it a try and it's not costly to them. And if they are happy, they can switch to the other firm, right? So in that case, the first firm may not be as successful as expected. Or sometimes network effects are not as important as the first firm expected, right? Maybe sometimes the network effect exists, but the first mover, they are moving too early to take advantage of that. Compared like in 20 years ago, maybe the network effect wasn't as important as it could be today, because it wasn't like everyone would have access to smartphones, internet. So maybe in the past, the network effect wasn't that important as it was today. So maybe when we are comparing the firm that entered the market in 20 years ago with the firm that entered the market 10 years ago, in terms of network effect, they have the same status, because network effect is getting important recently. So there is no advantage for the first mover in that case. Or sometimes the firms overestimate their ability to extend their reach on the internet, right? So that means, again, being a first mover doesn't matter that much. And the new customers and new product can be can be found in the internet easily. So in these cases, sometimes the second mover can be successful, especially when the first mover product is not something proprietary, right? For example, the technology might get expired for the first firm, or the producer cannot stay in the industry forever. In that case, the second mover can hire the first mover technology and technicians. Or sometimes the second mover has a valuable related product that could create a good capacity for that the first mover doesn't have, right? For example, Microsoft moved into the browser while Google was already in the market for many years compared to the Microsoft. But Microsoft is also successful, maybe as successful as Google, because they have more softwares, could be compatible with the browser, or they have hardwares that could be compatible with the browsers. So they have more valuable related product that could be linked to the browser. So that made Microsoft as a browser to be probably as successful as Google, if it's not more successful. Yeah, and that was all we had today. Yep. Have a good week.